Hi, this video guide is for those companies considering entering international markets for the first time. The focus here is on the B2B sector. B2C has other, I would argue, more complex considerations that have to be taken into account. Furthermore, the emphasis of this presentation is on exporting opportunities. Now, to further set expectations, although the title of this video is UMI makes it easy to begin trading internationally, there is no magic wand. I will take you through processes which make it easy to trade internationally, but if you decide to enter international markets, you will have to dedicate time and resources to do so. Therefore, as you will hear, one of the first steps we recommend is the completion of an export readiness checklist. If after completing that checklist, you decide that international trade is not for you, it doesn't make you a bad person. But at least you have a clear idea why the international markets are not for you. Okay, let's have a look at what we will cover in this presentation. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started with an overview of what we'll cover. We start off explaining the benefits of exporting. If there are no benefits, there's no point, right? We then bust a lot of myths. Many reasons are given for not exporting or trying to export. We demolish these. There are, however, 6 key challenges to be resolved. As I said, there's no magic wand, and you will have to dedicate time and resources if you want to start trading internationally. The first steps you should take, especially evaluating whether entering international markets is right for you. How to compare yourself with competitors. Exporting opens the global markets, but that can be very expensive. We will look at some low-cost solutions. Communicating with international markets takes some thought and preparation. I will explain what options are open to you. There are risks involved in international trade, like there is within business. Here, I will address those risks and show how you can reduce and manage them. If you export, there will definitely be logistics issues to be confronted. You will have cost, financing, and pricing conversations to be had. There will be more documentation to be managed, much of which can be digitized. You will then see that the 6 key challenges mentioned above are all resolvable and resolved. Finally, there is a summary of the presentation with my recommendations for you to consider. As I said, a lot to cover, so let's look at the first item on the agenda. Why export? There are 6 main reasons why you should consider exporting. You may find it strange that I list risk reduction. However, in addition to generating extra sales, exports reduce your business risk. If one market goes down, there is the good chance that your other markets will at least remain stable, if not actually increase. Balancing production schedules. If your domestic product is seasonal, you can sell it to countries with coinciding seasons, or better yet, whose seasons start when yours ends. If you have idle capacity for any reason, this can be redirected to supporting your exports, improving economies of scale. With increased export production and sales, you can achieve economies of scale and spread costs over a larger volume of revenue. You reduce average unit costs and increase overall profitability and competitiveness. Extending product life cycles. Exports extend product life cycles. As technology advances and tastes change, many products become obsolete or lose their appeal. But these products may still be valued elsewhere. Over half the world's economies are less developed. They may not need or can't afford your latest model. They may even prefer less costly, earlier versions, or used or reconditioned products. Pursue exports in markets that still value goods no longer in demand in the domestic market. Cost reductions and improving your supply chain. You may find that products you need for your own production or distribution network can be found abroad at lower prices and/or at better quality. Gain new knowledge and experience. Going international can yield valuable ideas and information about new technologies, new marketing techniques, new suppliers, and foreign competitors. The gains can help a company's domestic as well as foreign businesses. All great stuff. But I repeat, there's no magic wand, and it will time and effort to create these benefits. To help you assess what is required, we have prepared an export readiness checklist, which you can download. The link is provided at the end of this video. Now, I have little doubt that you will have heard many arguments why you should not even try to export. On the next slide, I'll deal with these myths. Now, at least one of these myths are deeply embedded in many British companies' psyche. Therefore, I would like to deal with them in some detail. In support of this myth busting, there are references to online services. Links to all of these are re-provided in a document that will be made available to you free of charge. Taking these myths in turn, it's better to concentrate on the domestic market. That may appear understandable, but it's a very short-sighted view. In effect, non-exporters with exportable products are saying, I'm not interested in the additional sales that exports could bring. Yet, if a new sales order came to you, say from Ireland, Germany, or the USA, would you say, no thanks, I'm too busy? Not likely. If you sell only to the domestic market, your sales volumes depend upon the health of the British economy. The British market accounts for just 3.1% of the world GDP. If you develop export markets, however, should the domestic market falter, for any reason there is the possibility that these can take up slack you experience. By serving a wider portfolio of markets, you actually reduce your risk profile. I'm too small to export. Absolutely false. Globally, the majority of exporting firms are SMEs. It is true that large firms typically account for far more total exports by value, but SMEs dominate the exporting population. So, if other SMEs can export, so can you. I will have to invest significant money and resources simply to check out the opportunities, with no guarantee of success. Traditionally, it was absolutely true that you had to risk significant time, effort, and investment. This is now no longer the case, as you will see from this guide. I can't compete overseas. The world is large, with varied needs and interests. If your product is bought domestically, it might well be wanted and affordable somewhere else in the world. What makes your product sell in the home market can help it sell abroad. Price is important, but it is not the only selling point. Other competitive factors are needed. Utility, quality, service, credit, consumer taste. These may override price differences. You should focus on just one new export market. But which one? Traditionally, companies have been advised to choose a specific country and then conduct a focused export campaign in that country. This means risking success on one market. And entering a market using traditional means requires a considerable investment of time and money. It may even be necessary to exhibit at physical trade fairs where costs can easily run into tens of thousands of pounds. This guide will explain how to promote your products and services to the world. See who comes to you, and then decide whether to focus on any specific countries. You can do this without leaving your office, and for very low levels of investment. Fiendish documentation. It is true that exports require extra documentation, and that you may have to adapt your packaging and labeling. However, your freight forwarder and/or customs agents can advise you what is required. Language difficulties. You must certainly allow for language differences, especially on your website and in your product and service collateral. However, Google Translate and DeepL provide quick, easy, and free translations. If you require interpreters for negotiations, these can also be easily and cost-effectively arranged using online video conferencing. It's difficult to arrange shipping. There are lots of freight forwarders out there providing competitive quotes for the shipping services you need. There are online broking services where you can ask for competing bids for your business. Tariff and non-tariff barriers are too problematic to be overcome. You should certainly be aware of them and build them into your final price calculations, even if you don't pay them yourself. In the main, they are relatively minor issues. However, these are not problems that you have to solve by yourself. Additional tax considerations. There are indeed additional tax considerations when exporting, but they need not be onerous. Again, you should check the situation with your freight forwarder and/or your accountant. Payment difficulties and currency risks. You should certainly cover payment and currency risks. However, they are risks that have been faced and resolved by countless companies. So, there are no reasons why you cannot face and resolve the same issues. This is not to say that there are no challenges to exporting. There are. Let's look at these on the next slide. The 6 key challenges to international trade are as follows. Connecting international buyers and suppliers. How do you meet? International communications. It is not simply a matter of translating everything. Risk reduction and management. There are additional operational risks, and you must take steps to reduce and manage these. Logistics and supply chain management. Extra issues, but easily solved. Costs, financing, and pricing. You have additional costs and finance issues which have to be evaluated and included. However, there's nothing to be overly concerned here if you take the right steps. Documentation and digitalization. Yes, there will be extra documentation when exporting goods. Also, you do need to check whether your digitalized documents and signatures are valid in your export markets. These are all dealt with in this video, with explanations of what you can do and what is available to resolve these challenges. Let's look at what your first preparatory steps should be. They are all at zero cost. Even if you decide not to export, then these steps will still support your domestic sales. These first steps cost you nothing. Start with a review of the export readiness checklist. You don't have to have answers for all the questions. However, the process of developing your export plan starts here. At the same time, you should check on your company's public-facing profile. This is how you appear to third parties. Make sure that it gives as good an impression as possible. This is just as true for domestic sales as international sales. Therefore, even if you decide not to pursue overseas opportunities, this will benefit you domestically. Begin with your profile in Companies House. Is it up to date and accurate? If not, make the necessary corrections. It is likely that any potential partners will request a credit check on your company. You should check what they are likely to see. And if you are not happy with what you see, you can discuss with the credit reporting agency how you can improve your credit profile. There are a number of business directories where you can publish your company's profile free of charge. The main one to consider is registering with Compass. Is your website up to date? Have you carried out an SEO audit? Make sure that you carry out any updates and improvements that are identified. If you've got it, flaunt it. Make sure that your industry certifications are highlighted in your marketing collateral and on your website. Your business email addresses should reflect your business domain. If anyone in your company is still using email addresses that are Gmail or similar, this gives the impression that you are a small company and capable of being an international partner. Once you have checked that your own house is in order, you should review your competitors and analyze how you compare with them, both nationally and internationally. There are indeed low-cost solutions. The first one is through your website. However, 90% of Europeans visit websites in their own language, even if they speak some English, and 75% of people prefer to buy in their own language. In fact, 75 to 85% of people, occasionally or never, use another language to search for or buy products. Therefore, if you want your website to rank higher in foreign markets, then improving foreign language SEO is a must. You can do this in 2 ways. The first is fully translating your website into different languages. This can come with not insignificant costs and operational hassle. Every time you make a change to your website, you have to mirror this in your translated versions of your website. However, if you have significant sales in a particular market, these costs can be easily justifiable. The alternative, really low-cost solution, is to subscribe to TradeTech for your multilingual microsite. They are easy to produce, as you will see in the next 3 slides. As mentioned above, you should also publish your company profile in the Compass directory. You can sign up to trade leads, promotion agencies, and international procurement platforms, as well as B2B online marketplaces. Links to all these online resources are provided in expouk.cloud and the PDF guide we make available. Right, let's have a look at these multilingual microsites. TradeTech's multilingual microsites are very easy to set up and you can edit them whenever you want, as often as you want. You simply complete an online set of forms. The main sections are keywords and phrases. You need to think carefully about these, as these are the hooks that you are inserting to catch online searches. Heading profile. General description of your company with a link to you homepage, company profile. This includes your address, company size, and main activities. Partners and suppliers. You list the associations and chambers of commerce you belong to, as well as the partners and suppliers that you're looking for. Contacts. In the published profile, this includes not just the main switchboard and generic email address, but also any specific contacts you have included for sales, products, partners, and buyers. Registered details. Here you can insert any certifications you may have, plus the legal form of your company and its registered address, VAT number, and company registration number. Products and services. This is where you can showcase individual products and services. Click Save and Publish, and artificial intelligence then generates a microsite promoting your company and its products and services in 35 languages. Let's have a look at which languages are included. Here you can see all 35 languages that are covered. These reach 95% of global GDP, providing a fast-track route into international markets. By clicking on a particular language, you will see your microsite in that language. On the next slide, you will see the French version of this microsite. As described, you can see the French version of the microsite that we configured in English. A few final points on these multilingual microsites. They sit on TradeTech's Expo World platform with multiple links to your home site. These backlinks are to your home site and therefore also increase its SEO. Your multilingual microsite pages convert prospects into leads by encouraging them to contact you for more information or a quote. These sales inquiries go directly to your website, email, or telephone as you decide, oh, and did I say that they were low cost? The list price is £149 a year, but using the coupon we provide at the end of this video will give you a 30% discount, reducing the price to £104.30 plus VAT. That's just over £2 per week for 35 languages, or less than 6 pence per week per language. Now moving on to international communications. International communications covers a myriad of issues. On one level, it simply covers the translation of collateral and messaging. Artificial intelligence can cover many of these requirements free of charge. ChatGPT will also generate text for you to cover any scenario in just about any language that could be of interest. Digital advertising and marketing. You should consider using Google Ads and social media, particularly LinkedIn and YouTube. There is a wealth of zero to low-cost opportunities to advertise your products and services online to generate sales leads. Online directories. As I mentioned above, in order for your potential clients to find your company, you will need to ensure that you are present and suitably profiled in as many online directories as is relevant for your activities. The British government's Exporting is Great also offers you the possibility of registering your company profile. This service lets buyers find you, gives companies looking to buy from your industry an easy way to find you, showcases your company, highlights your company's products and services to give buyers insight into what you do, pulls in the right leads, attracts more business by connecting you with the right international buyers. Prepare your responses to international inquiries. It is helpful to prepare in advance of receiving any inquiries from abroad, a portfolio of standard response emails and attachments for fast response to foreign requests for information. Risk reduction and management. When engaging in international trade, the following risks have to be taken into account. Country risk. Political upheavals can cause dramatic changes, including shifts in economic policy, nationalization, expropriations, loss of personal rights, and physical danger. Political strife can prompt foreign reactions in the form of economic sanctions, boycotts, and embargoes. To cover this risk, it is possible to take out country political risk insurance cover. Company risk. Is your international counterparty creditworthy? If you are exposed to a corporate credit risk, You can request a credit report and make a judgment based on that. You can also take out credit insurance. If you are experiencing non-payment of trade debt and you're not insured, you can refer the debt to an international debt collection agency. Payment terms are the main tools for limiting credit exposure to foreign payment risks. These range from advance payment through to credit terms guaranteed by a bank letter of credit. A final risk to consider is that of foreign exchange exposure. Unless you can invoice in sterling, you will be exposed to exchange rate changes. These can be covered by forward contracts with your bank that guarantee the future rate. If you export goods, then you'll also have a number of logistical issues to consider. The first logistics consideration is the cost of shipping your goods. Even if you're not responsible for making the payment, these costs will be added to the price of your goods in the importing country. You will need to engage with a freight forwarder. They will be able to provide most of the support that you will need in exporting your goods, especially trade documentation and packaging and marking and dealing with tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers refer to any measure other than a customs tariff that acts as a barrier to international trade. You will have to include the cost of cargo insurance to the final price for your goods in the importing country. So you'll need to take a number of extra costs into account when calculating your final price to the importer. In doing so, should also need to calculate and understand the final price to the end users in the importing country. This is needed to appreciate your positioning with respect to competitive products. To do this, you will have to include banking, finance, and foreign exchange considerations. Incoterms are the standard payment terms used in international trade and define who pays what. For example, who pays for shipment, who pays for cargo insurance, who pays any tariffs. There may be additional tax and tax reporting considerations to be taken into account. Your accountant and/or your freight forwarder should be able to help you with these. Documentation and digitalization. Digitization is the process of converting information on paper or PDF files into digital form that can be processed by a computer, and is therefore the first necessary step in digitalizing business processes. Digitalization is the use of digitized data to convert manual business processes through the use of digital technologies. E-invoicing is now a fairly standard means for issuing invoices, especially in Europe. E-signatures are also increasingly acceptable internationally. However, before relying on electronic documentation and signatures, do check with your accountant, lawyer, or your freight forwarder which digital documents are legally accepted in the country you are exporting to. The undoubted advantages of digitalization are the cheaper processing of documentation and reduction of errors. All good things. Right, the claim is that the 6 key challenges can be resolved. Well, I've covered all the challenges relating to connecting buyers and suppliers, communications, risk reduction and management, logistics, costs, finance and pricing, documentation and digitalization, and provided solutions to all of them. Let's summarize these. In summary, you can see that there is potential for SMEs to enter international markets. You just need to plan carefully and take things step by step. The 6 key challenges are real but resolvable. Best of all, the first steps do not require significant financial investments. In fact, they are free of charge. You can then progress incrementally. You don't have to make investments in export markets until and unless you have concrete evidence that there is genuine potential. The recommendations are: complete the export readiness checklist. Carry out the initial analysis. From this, you can prepare your export plan. Decide whether to proceed or not. If you do proceed, remember that it will take time and commitment to achieve results, but it's worth it. Well, that's everything for today. Download links for supporting documentation are provided on the next slide, together with the multilingual microsite discount coupon. Thank you for watching. UMI makes it easy to begin trading internationally. I appreciate that you may have many questions. In this case, please review the documents you can download here. Also, you may be interested in another video guide. UMI makes it easy to find and target international markets. If you still have questions, then you can contact UMI or send me an email at the address shown on this slide. I hope you found this video helpful and practical. Once again, thank you for your time.